Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Marhaban ila maktabati. Welcome to my library. We're going to talk today about a few books that I purchased here in Kuwait from the different maktabat in Hawali. Inside of the main building in Hawali, it's called Majma al-Bus or something like this right now. Inshallah, I'll look it up and put it on the thumbnail. There are a number of bookstores. There are actually more floors than are seen. There is the main floor, and it is open in the middle where you can see down into the basement and see up into the mezzanine level. But then after that, there are elevators where you can go to other places. Some of them might be apartments or offices for businesses, but some of them are bookstores. But very few people know about those other stores, and I don't know, maybe they're kind of specialty. Anyway, inside the open area on the basement, the ground floor, and the mezzanine, maybe 30 bookstores, maybe 25, maybe 40, somewhere in there. About 30 bookstores, roughly. So this is from a trip I went when I got there, just picking up different things from different places while some brothers were here from the UK and from America for the Dora Ali ibn Abi Talib. So, inshallah ta'ala, while they were shopping around, I was shopping around, and these are the books that I got on that day. The first of them is Itmam al-Mutalib Btكميل Dalil الطالب. Right? Okay, so for those of you who are maybe not so familiar, when it comes to Hanbali fiqh, then one of the main sources is Dalil al-Talib, or one of the main beginner books, not sources, but main beginner books is Dalil al-Talib. You will find it taught a lot today, and it's even translated in an Arabic English form. It's around 40 or 50 bucks. It's a pretty big book. It's got a nice printing, and if you can afford it and you don't know Arabic fully and you're learning, you want to go back and forth, look page to page to see what's there, I recommend it. Anyway, some of the other books, as we'll see here, that are currently pretty popular and being taught is Umdat al-Fiqh, Zad al-Mustaqni, Umdat al-Talib, and Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. These are four other books that are pretty popular. So what this person, Lekleyb ibn Ahmed ibn Dayfallah al-Zahrani, wanted to do, he said in his introduction, after studying Hanbali fiqh with the scholars for 20 years or so, he had a desire to gather these books all together, and to gather what they all contain in one spot. So he took Dalil al-Talib and he made it the asl. And then what he did is to take any additions from these other books and place them inside the text in different colors, as we'll soon see. So it will be, if a person were to study this book, if he just finishes this one book, it will be as if he finished all 5 books. Dalil al-Talib, Umdat al-Fiqh, Zad al-Mustaqni, Umdat al-Talib, and Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. Tayyib. Let's look inside. We see it's hardback. Alhamdulillah, we see the bookmark that we love. Trying to make sure I have enough space here to not hit the phone. We see It is on cream paper, thick paper too. It is 567 pages. 567 pages. We can see the thickness of the book. It's a pretty thick book. Cream paper. Not just 2-color, but 5-color. Right? And from the super smart things that he did here is he put his ledger, I guess you might want to call it, here at the bottom to give you the coding of what he is talking about. So if it appears in green, then it is Umdat al-Fiqh. If it appears in red, it is Zad al-Mustaqni. If it is in purple, Banafsaji, it's Umdat al-Talib. And if it's in blue, then it's Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. And here we can see, if you can see it, it might be kind of hard to see. This is green. So the black is Dalil al-Talib. So for instance, over here, it's all black. This is Dalil al-Talib. Then here we have the blue. So this is going to be Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. Right? Then this is all Dalil al-Talib until we get to here. Then it's Zad al-Mustaqni. Oh, here we have Akhsar. Right? Over here, we have Umdat al-Fiqh. So he's bringing these all books together. Now, he said it's a little bit difficult in the fact that everyone had their own writing style. And maybe, for example, when al-Tari was mentioned inside of Zad al-Mustaqni, maybe it was mentioned in a way, or it says, وَمَا فِي مَعْنَاهُ. For instance, it could have been given in a different grammatical form. So he might have had to change the wording slightly to conform and make it as if one person wrote this whole text. So he may have to change it a little bit. Whenever he does that, he puts it in the notes that he did so. Right? So this is a good book of Hanbali fiqh. In the end, he also has notes here from Rawd al-Murbi in the bottom. Not complete notes, not all of what Rawd al-Murbi, but some notes from Rawd al-Murbi in the bottom. And then in the end, he also talks about in the footnotes what happens if the statement of the author contradicts what is well known in the madhab. And then he has a chart in the back. So in this first chart here, this is whenever the text of Umdat al-Fiqh contradicts the madhab. And it brings all the points. The page number, what the madhab is, what did the author of Umdat al-Fiqh say, right? And then he has the same thing for Zad al-Mustaqni, right? Then he has the same thing for Dalil al-Talib, for Umdat al-Talib and Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. He has these charts in the back. So this is a good book. And I believe almost everyone that went to the bookstore that day bought this book if there was a copy. And I believe there was copies. I believe everyone wanted this book. This next book is a small pocket book, and it's just Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat, the fiqh book. A lot of people are teaching it. Now, it's a good book to have with you to review the Hanbali fiqh. It's got our nice bookmark, especially since you're traveling a lot. You can read just a little bit. If you do that often, you could forget where you, if you're moving around, you can forget. If you only read a page or two, you can forget where you were. And it's fully vowelized, which is really nice. It's 332 pages with the table of contents, 2-color, blue on super premium cream paper. That's just Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. This next book is a 3-volume book. الناسخ والمنسوخ. It's a Rasail Jami'iyya number 148 from Dar ibn al-Jawzi, meaning it's a doctor's thesis in their series. This is the 148th doctor's, or not necessarily doctors, could be master's thesis. This is الناسخ والمنسوخ, the abrogated or the abrogating and the abrogated في كتاب الله عز وجل واختلاف العلماء في ذلك. So what is abrogated and what is not abrogated, and what is abrogated by, and the difference of the scholars regarding that. The original book was written by Ibn al-Nahas, Abu Ja'far, Ahmed ibn Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Nahas, who died at Tuwaffa in the year 338. Some say 337, as he goes and explains inside the introduction. This is a dirasa, a study by Lsliman ibn Ibrahim ibn Abdullah al-Laḥm, who's a teacher in the section of the Quran and its sciences in the Kulliyat al-Sharia wa Dirasat al-Islamiyya in Jamiat al-Qasim. Right? And as we said, it's 3 volumes. Each volume is almost 600 pages, as this first volume is 584 pages, including the table of contents. It's 2-color premium cream paper full of lots of footnotes. Okay, now let's talk about the book, inshallah ta'ala. Ibn Nuhas was born in Fustat, which is the first capital of Egypt. And he has many mashayikh, many mashayikh. He gives the biography of over 40 of them in here. The 40 or so that he mentioned inside of just al-Nasikh wal-Mansukh, then Sulaiman al-Laḥm, he gave the biography of them. And he also mentioned ones that are found in other books and other books of Tarajim, other books of biographies and stuff about Ibn Nuhas. And he just lists them at that point. I didn't count the list, but it seemed like way more than 40. So, besides those 40, I mean. So, he has many mashayikh. From amongst his mashayikh are al-Nasa'i, Imam al-Nasa'i, al-Damyati, al-Bazar, al-Azdi. I'm trying to remember as I was reading from them. At-Tahawi, right? And others, many mashayikh. And we know he died in the year 338, so he died in that time just after the Imam. Imam Nasa'i died in the year 303, and he's from the Kutub al-Sitta. So we know he's just after that time. Bukhari died in 256, so we have that period that he met, like we said, Imam Nasa'i and the students of the other Imams of Islam at that time. He is mostly known for his lugha. However, he is very profound in Quranic sciences, and that's one of the reasons that Sheikh Sulaiman al-Laḥm chose to do this book, because most books that are in al-Nasikh and Mansukh, he says, are very short and therefore and they may not contain that much information, and so therefore someone may not wish to rely upon it that much in the subject. So Sulaiman al-Laḥm chose to do his due to the vastness of it. And we'll go through the table of contents on volume 1 a little bit, and then show you some of volume 3 as well, just to show you some of the work that was done on this book and what the book goes. So let's see, for example, let's look at some of the he goes to talk about in the introduction, which is 300 and some pages, a little over 300 pages in the introduction. And that's even before he gets to talking about the manuscripts or that he went through. We're just talking about the introduction of al-Nasikh wal-Mansukh and Ibn Nuhas and his field. He goes into great detail if a person were to read the introduction of this book, even though 3 volumes at 600 pages apiece, we're talking about almost 1,800 pages, then even at, that seems like a lot to read. However, Ibn Nuhas did not just talk about if it was abrogated or not, whether he went into the tafsir of these ayat, the balagha of these ayat, the ahkam of these ayat, the aqidah of the, whatever might have been involved in these ayat. This is more so a book of tafsir regarding these different ayat that are spoke about regarding al-Nasakh wal-Mansukh. Right? And it's a study for him. So he doesn't just bring, as some might say, this ayat is mansukh, and this is the nasikh. This ayat is abrogated, and this is the abrogating ayat according to this, and that. No, he even talks about ayat which he doesn't agree them being nasikh, or a portion of the Quran which might not have a nasakh, might not have abrogation involved in it. And why doesn't this portion of the Quran have abrogation in it? Because it is dealing with aqidah, and it is Meccan, and Meccan period dealt with tawheed, and tawheed is not to be abrogated. And wallahi, it's an extremely tremendous book. But if someone were to study these first 300 pages, in which a lot of Ibn Nuhas's speech is brought in here as examples of what he's trying to show in the introduction. So if you were to accomplish the introduction, the rest of the book would be easy. So I would say if someone were to focus on reading these first 300 pages, and I haven't done so to know this, but I'm just assuming from knowing how books are read and studied, that I believe if someone were to read these first 300 pages or so, you could probably complete the rest of the book in the same time that you studied and read these first 300 pages. It would just be almost that easy, because this is the detail that Lsliman al-Laḥm, he goes into in this. So, for example, he compares Mecca Abi Talib, Ibn Abi Talib, Mecca Ibn Abi Talib, or Mecca Abi Talib, and Ibn al-Jawzi. So he has a chart here comparing those ayat which are said to be nasikh and mansukh, and what is the nasikh of them, and what does Nuhas say, what does Mecca say, and what does Ibn al-Jawzi say. And he has a chart of that, which is a nice little, this is work. If you look at the number of references that Sheikh Sulaiman al-Laḥm used in volume 3, then it's 21 pages with an average of 13 references per page. So we're talking about 270, 80, almost 300 references. And if we look, and if you want to see the efforts that were put forth, besides that, then let's get to some of the pictures of the manuscripts and see the hard work that had to be done. Wallahi, you almost can't read anything here. Kitab al-Nasakh wal-Mansukh. Look at, this is maybe an easy page compared to this, which is maybe an easy page compared to this. And his job is to decipher all of this, to make sure that it all matches and that there's no extra wordings or benefits or something. Right? There are some more pictures of manuscripts here. This one, that's an easy one maybe. That's an easy one. Maybe not so bad, but tighten. That one, maybe a little easy. Anyway, then it begins the book. He numbers the narrations by one after one. One of the benefits is that Ibn Nuhas, he brings his chain of narrators since he's early on and he's from the time of the people of Hadith. So he stuck to his isnad and he argues the isnad and he shows why this is that. and he says what the different opinions are. Is it nasikh, or is it mansukh, or is it just muhkam, and it's never been anything like that? And he goes through and he deals with it and addresses the change of narrators, and he brings all of these things, right? He brings all of this. He has 935 narrations. 935 narrations going through the Quran. After that, Sheikh Suleiman al-Laḥim did a tremendous effort in that he brought biographies of anyone who Ibn al-Nuhas mentioned. So anyone he mentioned in alphabetical order, he brings these biographies, and that's what we're looking at right there. That's what I'm flipping through. And then he brings the end of the book. And then he has here the actual hukm according to Ibn Nuhas, right? And then he has Fihris al-Ayat, Fihris al-Hadith, Fihris al-Athar, Fihris al-Ash'ar, Thabt al-Muraji', and Fihris al-Mawdu'at. Fihris al-Mawdu'at here, this last one is a table of contents, and he just brings every individual table of contents in each volume. Fihris al-Ayat, anytime an ayat is mentioned, he'll say where that ayat is mentioned, in the order of the Mus'haf, right? Then Fihris al-Hadith. Let's see how that looks. Looks like this. These are ayat. So when قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّي الْفَوَاحِشَ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمَ. This is, you can see this on volume 1, page 517. Someone might say, looking at that and looking at like hadith, Inna Rasulullah sallam ibta'a farasan min a'arabi. What does this mean? Why would he bring this? Because maybe in reading the book you remember this ayat was mentioned, but I don't remember, was it Nasakh or Mansour? Maybe I remember this hadith, but now I don't remember its exact context, what ayat it was mentioned in. So then you can go back by using this that you might remember. Then he goes into the athar that were mentioned, meaning those of the Sahaba and after them, and then lines of poetry. So in case you've remembered any of this, then you would be able to go look for it and then read more about it and catch up or recall what you were looking for. This is the Thabt al-Muraji', the resources that he used, as we said, 26 pages of a bunch of books. I would say definitely, I know it's close to 300, if not more. And then the table of contents, which is very detailed in every book. For example, this one starts on 496 and ends on 507. So we got 12 pages of table of contents. Anyway, this is this book, الناسخ والمنسوخ, a wonderful subject in the sciences of tafsir, the Quran and its sciences. And since there's some depth of this in here, the depth that Ibn Nuhas goes into, it's very important. Now, real quickly, Sheikh Suleiman, and maybe inshallah ta'ala I will do this in a separate book review. Sheikh Suleiman al-Laḥim has al-Rahman fi Tafsir al-Quran, and this is in 25 volumes. وَبَيَانِ مَا فِيهِ مِنَ الْهِدَايَاتِ وَالْفَوَائِدِ وَالْأَحْكَامِ. So this is the help of al-Rahman in explaining the Quran and clarifying what is in it from guidance and benefits and rulings. 25 volumes. It's a modern tafsir, and it's one of the best tafsirs I've ever seen. He originally had the from Surah al-Hujurat and the Mufassal surahs, and he said inside of his 3 volumes that some of the people consider the Hujurat to be from the Mufassal, so he started with that surah, and then he had those 3 volumes, and I read it. It was tremendous. And then when his whole tafsir came out, I had to buy it. Maybe, inshallah ta'ala, we'll do a separate book review on that. Just talking about Sheikh Sulaiman al-Laḥm, who is the one of the teachers in the section of the Quran and the sciences in the Islamic college in Jamiat Qasim, University of Qasim, which is in or near Riyadh. This next book we have الأربعون في الشفقة والرحمة by Allah ibn Abdul Ghaffar Abu Mati al-Sindi. This is printed by Adwa al-Salaf. Costs 3 KD, hardback. Does not have our bookmark that we love. It's on white paper. You can see the difference of a white paper book and a cream paper book. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it even on the screen. The cream paper is just much easier on the eyes. The white one might seem clearer, but reading it for a long time, it's hard on the eyes. But it's doable. That's how books are. Alhamdulillah. So this is 40 hadith about rahmah and about mercy and leniency and so forth, shafaqah, to have, I don't know how to translate shafaqah off the top of my head, but leniency and love and like this towards the creation and so on. 40 hadith, as you all know, I like 40 hadith. So when I saw it, I had to get it, right? Does it actually have 40 hadith? It actually has 40 hadith. Some of them go more, some of them stick at 40. Here's actually 40, right? So this book is 167 pages, right? So let's look at some of the table of contents. الشفقة على الضعفاء والفقراء والوالدان والأيتام. To have this mercy and this leniency and gentleness upon the poor, upon the weak and the poor and the parents and the orphans. To have this upon the poor of the Muslims and those who are the people who lived in the masjid. Upon the hungry, right? Upon the slaves, right? Upon the orphans, the mercy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the gentleness and everything that he had upon his son Ibrahim, upon Zainab, it says ala ibnatihi, so it's on his daughter, on Hassan and Hussein. The mercy and the gentleness that he had upon different people, the gentleness that he had upon his people and upon the people of ignorance, his mercy and gentleness he had upon his ummah, the gentleness that he had upon animals and birds and jamad, inanimate objects, right? Meaning here the trunk of the tree that cried, right? When he used to give the khutbah next to it. So it's all about mercy, something that would, inshallah, nice book. The next book we have is الآيات التي قال عنها المفسرون هي أصل في الباب. So this is a study of the ayat which the scholars of tafsir have said this is the asl, this is the foundation of this chapter. This is the foundation of this subject. So anytime the scholar said هذه الآية أصل في الباب, this ayat is a foundation in this subject, in this bab, then he goes to discuss that. It's got a nice bookmark, even with a little tag showing their symbol, which is the chair of Quranic sciences, Markaz al-Quran al-Karim wa Alumihi, right? So then, wonderful two-color paper, wonderful cream color paper, two-color print, very nice size print, easy to read, right? Again, a number of different faharis and different. Here he numbered his resources here, at 196 resources. And so this is just all about this subject in tafsir. الآيات التي الأصل في باب العقائد عند المفسرين. So for example, what is the ayat, which is the foundation in matters of aqidah, according to the scholars of tafsir. So let's look, for example, here we have al-asl fi takfir min istahza'a bi sharia. The origin or the foundation of making takfir for the one who makes fun of the sharia. So go to 143. Almost there. So here we go. The asl for this ayat, وَإِذَا نَادَيْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ اتَّخَذُوهَا هُزُوًا وَلَعِبًا ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. قال السيوطي said, الآية أصل في تكفير المستهزئ بشيء من الشريعة وتابعه على هذا القول. Okay, so Sayyuti said this ayat is a foundation for making takfir, whoever makes fun of something from the Sharia, and followed him in that in this statement, followed Sayyuti, Jamal al-Din al-Qasimi in his tafsir Mahasan al-Ta'wil. Right? So this is whoever makes fun of something in the religion, right? Then إِذْ نَادَيْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ اتَّخَذُوهَا حُزُوًا وَلَعِبًا. SubhanAllah. If they're called to the salah, then they take it as a joke and as a play. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. That's because there are people who don't understand. They don't use their intellects. This is a foundation for this. So anyway, this is this book, the study of tafsir. It's also similar to the study of ayat al-ahkam, the ayat dealing with rulings and what is how can we derive rulings from the Quran. This is Dirasa by Sultan ibn Fahd Ali al-Sultami. The next book that we have here, and I didn't even realize most of these have to do with tafsir today. I didn't even realize that. Al-Qawaid al-Zawaid. Al-Qawaid al-Zawaid by Yusuf Sakit. Yusuf Sakit is an imam and khatib here and a sheikh here in Kuwait who has many beneficial classes. You can find them online. Al-Qawaid al-Zawaid. These are additional rules, additional principles. Al-Qawaid al-Lati infarada biha Taysir al-Karim al-Rahman an al-Qawaid al-Hisan. So Imam Abdurrahman al-Sa'di, rahimahullah, he has a book called Al-Qawaid al-Hisan, which is a book of qawaid, or principles in Quranic sciences. And so while reading the famous tafsir al-Sa'di, Taysir al-Karim al-Rahman, he found that there were many principles, Sheikh Yusuf Sakit, he found that there were many principles that he mentioned inside of his tafsir that he did not mention in his book, Al-Qawaid al-Hisan. So he brought those and compiled them in this book. It's a hardback book. If you live here in Kuwait at the right time, you can get a copy for free. Otherwise, it's for sale in the bookstores for around $6 or $7. Cream paper, 2-color, print. The paper is a little glossy too. It's not cardboard. It's a little slick. I don't know if I like that too much. It is a total of 136 pages with the table of contents. But it's a very good print and easy to read. And he brings, let's see how many more principles does he bring that he did not bring inside his Qawaid al-Lisan. At-Tasi' wa Sittun. So he brings 69 principles that can be found inside, that he mentioned inside his tafsir, that were not mentioned inside his book on Ulum al-Quran or Qawaid of Quran, the qawaid of understanding the Quran, the principles of understanding. He brought 69 principles inside his tafsir that he did not mention there, and so he brought them here. So that's pretty nice. Right? That's pretty nice. MashaAllah. Now, someone would just bring all those principles together and make a third book, right? MashaAllah. These next two books, I will show you something real quick. This is the tafsir. I got volume 2 I brought down to show you. This is the tafsir of Sulaymān al-Laḥm that I was talking about. This up here is a tafsir al-Hidayah ila Bulugh al-Nihaya by Makki ibn Abi Talib, which is one of the people we spoke about inside of talking about al-Nasakh wal-Mansukh. Sorry for the mess. Sorry for spinning you guys around. Anyway, Makki ibn Abi Talib is a person who, let me see, he died in 4 something, I believe. I don't remember his year of death right now. He died in year 4 something. Anyway, this is all about his tafsir, Makki ibn Abi Talib wa tafsir al-Quran al-Kareem. It's all about Makki ibn Abi Talib and his life and talking about his tafsir. So it is 678 pages, including the table of contents. It's on cream paper, 2-color, nice size print, a little bit small, but nice size. It's a very heavy and quality book. It does not have our bookmark that we like. And it just talks about some of the principles and different things that he has in here. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll do a study or a book review solely on Al-Hidayah ila Bulugh al-Nihaya by Makki ibn Abi Talib. And we'll maybe bring this book back again at that time to discuss it. But this is about him. If someone wants to know more about him, then this book is available. And then this again, Rasail Makki ibn Abi Talib al-Qaysi. These are some books that he wrote, or some small treatises that he wrote, explaining the sharh, kalla, wa balla, wa na'am. Anytime they come in the Quran, kalla, wa balla, wa na'am, then this is the explanation of those words, wa waqf ala kulli wahidin minhuna fi kitabillahi azza wa jal, and stopping at them. Kalla, wa balla, wa na'am. Should I stop? Should I not stop? So on. اختصار القول في وقف على كلا وبلا ونعم. Another risala or treatise he wrote about this is the summarization of the speech regarding stopping at these words. تمكين المد في أتى وآمن وآدم وشبه. So what is the ruling of making the mud? Ata wa amana wa adam. On this hamza with the alif mamduda like this. What is the ruling on that mud there? And al-ba'in al-mushad. I can't read that on there. I'm sorry right now. Anyway, these are just some letters written by Makki ibn Abi Talib. I was interested in it because I like his tafsir, and I like him and our brother Khalil Klopfenstein from Tuleha WordPress, who also has a very nice blog out bringing fawaid from the tafsir of al-Imam al-Baghawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, called Tafsir al-Baghawi. It's in English, and he's translating different fawaid from that tafsir on a regular basis, daily basis almost, on Facebook. Anyway, this book is slightly over 300 pages, 317 pages, counting the table of contents, and 2-color cream paper. And it's just something that was related to Makki Ibn Abi Talib, and so I bought it. It's a more difficult subject, more specialized for sure, but liking him and his tafsir and wanting to know more and wanting to have a complete library. Someone might say, you're not going to read all those books. You're probably right. You're definitely right. You're absolutely, definitely, 100% correct. However, that doesn't mean I don't want to have a full library. I may not read this whole book, even though it's only, a few pages, as we mentioned, 300 and some pages. However, I may come and just read one section of it, or one couple pages of it, or one risala, or I may not ever read it, but my son may need it, my neighbor may need it, my friend may need it, right? The community where I live, if I go back to America, may need it, and it will be there, and I have the ability to get it, and there's no reason for me saying later on, man, I should have got it. It was there, and I got it. Walillahi alhamd. We'll conclude with that for today. I'm sorry I went real long. I went into some detail on some of those books. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.